Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again to talk about everybody's favorite facet of gacha games and gacha communities. You probably guessed it from the title or the thumbnail somewhere. It's going to be toxic positivity. Because as we all know, gacha games typically follow a certain set of, like breakpoints when it comes to the crafting of their community very early on in release. We've seen it with past titles before. The story over here with Neverness to Everness is that we have a phenomenon where the game launches to a very, very, very wide audience of individuals. You can see April 29, 2026, the launch date, 115K peak viewers, and naturally, right, a pretty massive play count, likely due to the fact that this game was advertised very, very, very heavily. But what ends up occurring when you cast out this wide of a net is that, unfortunately, if your game doesn't necessarily live up to the standards, right, of the entire community that it was initially serving, like one this big, we only need to use Arknight's Enfield as an example over here, right? Let's take a look at where the viewership numbers are for that game right now. 125K peak on its release, just like what we were seeing before, right? Massive amount of sponsors, all of that, huge amount of engagement, and now we're floating at triple digits, usually dipping to double digits, well, whenever we just feel like it. And this game is effectively dead. This game is effectively shit, and nobody plays it, nobody streams it, nobody talks about it, unless a new patch is arriving and they've got their sponsored CC packages ready to go so that people can pretend that they're playing the game. And this is unfortunately a reality that many games are seeing. The ones that launch mainstream and then the ones that end up, kind of like receding back down. You only need to use Zenless Zone Zero as another example of a game that, well, launched to a huge amount of fanfare, mass number of viewers, and then because the game wasn't able to capture really that audience it was initially serving, well, now it's back down to, well, what did I say before? Double-digit numbers on the daily, and this thing looks like a cancer patient's EKG. I don't even know why the fuck it looks like that. What the hell even is this? So all of this stuff aside, all this kind of like context aside, how does this relate to NTE? Well, NTE is a game that's currently undergoing the process of capturing that mainstream audience and then getting filtered down to what the core audience actually is. And while that filtering is occurring, while player counts are dropping, while viewership numbers for YouTube videos are going down, specifically for NTE, well, this is the reality that occurs. The community starts getting really, really, really defensive. The community starts protecting whatever they have left, whatever player base is left, and they start becoming extremely toxic positive. And when somebody decides to go ahead and simply make a baseline criticism of the game that's rooted in reality and fully bolstered by fact, they will get brigaded like fucking crazy by the community. Or really, whatever is left of the community. Because NTE, unfortunately, is a game that's currently, well, experiencing that regression that we just talked about live right now. And the only thing I need to show you to kind of like prove that is the fact that this game is hitting triple-digit viewers on the daily less than a month since it's come out. The 29th of May is officially going to be the 1-month anniversary for NTE, and you will be seeing numbers that likely hit around 800, 700, 600 by the time the 1.1 update actually releases later on in I think June at this point. And that's kind of just the reality of it, because the game has failed, right? After its honeymoon phase has ended, it's failed to capture that main gacha audience. That's kind of just a fact at this point. And when you know that the game kind of just looks like, I'm gonna be honest here, it's a couple of like 500, 400, view streamers, CCs, and then, as far as I'm concerned, it's like 400 channels that all have like 10 viewers each or something like that. It's probably 400 is probably too much. It's probably like 100 channels that all have like 100 or like 10, 15, 20 viewers each. I don't even know if it's botted or real or not. I'm just going to be honest with you over here. That's what those numbers currently are looking like on Twitch Live. And guess what other games looked exactly like this? AKE and Zenless Zone Zero. And so what I wanted to do today was talk about all of the outward facts, all of the outward signs that both Hada and the NTE community is showing you themselves that this game isn't actually doing that well, so we can start dispelling some of the massive amounts of misinformation that I've already gotten plastered everywhere in my comments section. So why don't we check out that misinfo? Alternate title, NTE didn't sponsor me, so now I hate them till the end of time. Enough unk, let it go. So what this comment over here is basically trying to say is that any criticism I have for the game isn't legitimate and isn't real because I wasn't sponsored by them. And if I was sponsored by NTE, then my criticism would be real. Let me show you the reality over here, ladies and gentlemen, of what happens when you get sponsored by NTE. Are you ready? So let me show you this YouTube video over here by Riven Elowin, or formerly known as I Am Everness. You might know I Am Everness as like a ZZZ content creator, does like guides, that sort of stuff, blah, blah, blah. They've rebranded into a girl.
I'm being paid for this.
Yeah, they rebranded into a girl, so like don't worry about that one. Don't worry about that one too much. Let's take a look at these viewership numbers for a second and these engagement numbers. 36,000 views on May 13th, 2026. Her animations are crazy. A first look at Hotori. NTE Hotori trailer react. But then right underneath this, you're going to see 52 likes and 2 dislikes. 52 likes and 2 dislikes on a 36,000 view video. And then directly underneath that, the NTE sponsored link plug. So this is kind of the situation here, guys. NTE will viewbot your content. NTE will viewbot your videos. And in that same vein, kind of just take a shit all over your YouTube metrics. Because now you're gonna have 36,000 views that don't belong to actual accounts because none of them there was like no engagement. And the big thing over here is that there's no fucking comments either. There's 9 of them on a 36K view video. This is actually actively sabotaging the YouTube channels of the sponsored CCs of the game. Like, at the very least, I kind of wish that they would have at least gotten the view bots that would A, like the video at the very least, or at least like leave a comment. Because at this point, it's kind of just absurd to have these videos just like floating around on people's channels that are... Bro, this one's 57K views.
Alright, y'all.
Bro, this is 57K views and 31 likes. Maybe they're running these videos as ads. That could be a fact. But that still has the same exact sort of damage that would occur if these videos were just view botted all the same. Because this is the thing. Those viewers that are maybe watching this as an ad, or maybe they're a view bot, they're clicking in. They're getting linked this guy's stuff. They're getting linked Riven Elowin stuff, right? And then that's eventually going to show up when you go on the YouTube homepage, the stuff from Sammy, right? The stuff from Riven, it's going to show up over here. But this is the thing. They're not going to actually want to watch Riven Elowin or Sammy Was Here. They saw them as like a fucking ad. And so all their shit is going to pop up over here. Everyone's going to skip over it, not click that shit, and then the analytics of this channel get actively fucking griefed. That's how it works, and that's why ads and like widespread stuff like that can be so damaging. And this is already happening live. And don't worry, I've experienced this firsthand, and I've seen the impact of this firsthand for other content creators. So, those are just some of the facts over here. And this is the thing. Isn't it just kind of questionable? Isn't it just like kind of a little bit questionable, right? That a game a month into release needs to kind of like juice those analytics numbers for CCs so it doesn't look like their views are awful when they're covering the game. Because guess what doesn't look really good, right? When a like trailer react sits there and it's at like 4,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 views and you're a sponsored CC. But that's kind of the reality of it. That's where the views of the game normally actually are. Because this is another fact about NTE, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm just going to be honest with you over here. No harm, no foul, not meant to like call out CCs, just stating the facts. The game has fallen off on YouTube. Okay, I'm using non-pawn over here as somebody that's been very, very, very diligent about making NTE content since day one. Very, very good views at the start, and now they've just kind of been tapering off in the past couple of days. That's a fact as well. And it's a little bit unfortunate, but that's just the reality of a title that has not really captured the mainstream audience as well as they might have liked. And you'll see this for any NTE creator. I'm just using non-pod over here because he's been one of the NTE only Andes since the game released. And as you can see, it's all just kind of like going down. That's a fact. So now, we've addressed that one. Don't worry, we've got a couple of other very, very, very fun comments. What is he doing here? He hates the game. It's not for him. Guys, NTE players are now at the point where they're trying to say, you're only allowed to make content on the game if you like it. You're not allowed to make content on the game if there's anything you dislike with it. That is literally the definition of toxic positivity. They're out here trying to gatekeep a title a month into release, shield it from criticism, say it's perfect, right? And that if you're trying to like talk about it and you're not being positive, what's wrong with you? And this is the third upvoted comment, ladies and gentlemen. This is the third upvoted. Sorry, it's the second one. Do you see how crazy this brigade is? And do you see how pathetic whatever is remaining of the community has already become? You have the devs viewbotting or running CC's videos as ads a month into release and griefing their channels. You have analytics for NTE falling off of a fucking cliff since its release. Oh, and this is probably gonna be the best way for us to see it. Yeah, let's check out Google Trends real fast, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for this one? All right. Yeah, no, this is what the interest is looking like over time worldwide for NTE. Y'all ready for this one? There's your fucking proof that the game on YouTube has fallen off dramatically. Nearly at levels that it was... Oh, no, sorry. No, it's literally below pre-release levels. April 27th was the pre-release of the game. It is actually lower than those numbers. That's the current state of YouTube. Not particularly surprising, right? Why some of the NTE-only creators are kind of struggling a little bit. So you're viewbotting. Analytics are falling down everywhere. The Twitch looks like one of the most suspicious things I've ever fucking seen from a viewership angle with this many, like hundreds of low viewer channels making up a majority of its viewership. And then one of the most retardedly toxic positive communities I think I've ever seen. And this is the unfortunate reality over here. These guys will flock from video to video to video of anybody critiquing NTE and just brigade it. And the reality over here is that NTE isn't a game that people really care about that much. To the point where, like, your other audience will, like, click on it to, like, get some additional news or get some additional updates. And so they're just gonna brigade the living fuck out of your channel if you dare to critique the game at all. But this is the thing. I've done this before. I've been around this block, ladies and gentlemen. I've already shown the proof multiple times for videos like this. And the biggest example that I simply need to use over here, guys, is this live stream for ZZZ, where the reality is I was right back then. And guess what, guys? I'm probably just going to be right again. Y'all remember this bad boy? When I openly critiqued ZZZ 2.0's livestream, the best anniversary in gacha, everyone said this was God's gift to gamers and that this was going to be the patch that saves the game, makes it the best one ever. Yeah, take a look at that dislike ratio, brother, man. Take a look at that dislike ratio. Take a look at the comments. Take a look at just all of, like, the people saying, oh, Saint's just hating on every game that isn't woo-wah. Then how come, when you look at Zenless Zone 0, the only thing that's occurred, guys, is that the game has fallen off dramatically since that 2.0 update, which launched here. And then following that launch, it's only gone down on a fucking merry-go-round right into hell. Right into fucking hell following that live stream. And me simply calling it how I see it, knowing that I've seen games shilled to infinity and beyond with features and things that people said are amazing and great. They actually weren't that good. People were overhyping them up. I've been around the block. I've seen it for so many games, so many different franchises. And I'm seeing it again here. When the devs themselves decide that, like, production value-wise, let's just take a look at what the ZZZ devs decided to, or sorry, the NTE devs decided to put in here, bro. Dude, they put in a literal 3-minute segment where the guy's just walking in the overworld. Bro, it's like 3 minutes long and you're just walking. There's nothing going on. Sure, there might be some people that really like this and, like, I guess wanted more of it. Bro, it was just a 3-minute segment of environments. 3 minutes of no talking, just music, and going from one environment to the other. If your goal was to put players to fucking sleep, congratulations, you got it here. Because it looks good, but, like, why is it going for 3 fucking minutes? It should be like a minute long at max. And this isn't even, like, the only place that they fucking did it, bro. They did it in, like, other places as well. The design of their live stream was objectively not good either. And me simply calling out how it was structured, how they need, like, a better producer, right? How they need, like, a better director, right? How they should probably just copy Woowa's live stream structure so that it's, like, less awkward and all of that stuff. Suddenly that turns into, oh, rage baiting is his only form of revenue. Now, bro is straight up lying. It was a great stream. Technically and objectively, this was like one of the worst gacha streams that have ever been made. You do realize this, right? Calling this like a well-designed live stream is one of the stupidest things that you could say. Because objectively, it was really not well done. And this is completely ignoring any of the actual content in the patch. We're not even talking about the content, the structure, the design, how stuff was split up, how much time they allocated and dedicated to certain things. Bro, they literally don't even show you. Wait, I think I need to get into where they were, like, breaking down the events, bro. Or was that AKE? Bro, I forget which game was, like, fucking it up. Bro, they just start shitting out like 30 different events. No, it was this game. They just start shitting out like 30 different events at you, and it's all just a bunch of PNGs one after another. You're telling me that this is a good live stream when them covering the events in the update is just 5 PNGs in a row and music and
why
no
is there
voices.
nobody
Talking. This is a great live stream. No, it's not. No, it's not. This is objectively trash. They just played a bunch of PNGs after each other and music. How toxic positive do you have to be as a player base to just, like, with a full chest say that this is a good presentation? How can you confidently say that this is like a high quality, well-designed 10 out of 10 live stream? They got elevator music playing and a slideshow. Actually designed to put the viewers to fucking sleep. And you're telling me this was good? You've got to be on drugs as a player base. And so this is the thing, guys. We'll be going back to this video repeatedly. The dislike ratio, all of that. The massive... I don't care about these guys. The massive number of subscribers that I lost, but thank you for the ad revenue. Because you'll simply be farmed. Just like how those ZZZ live streams got farmed. When the reality sets in. Because when it comes to these games, guys, I'm typically not wrong when I talk about predictions, when I talk about the future trajectory, because my predictions are based off of data. My predictions are based off of me seeing the actuality of what's going on in the space. Seeing stuff like this. Seeing fall-offs like this. Seeing ridiculousness like this. Seeing odd viewer numbers on Twitch like this that I saw similarities in AKE with. And then, of course, seeing the dramatic fall-off in engagement across pretty much every single possible outlet in less than a month at a faster pace than AKE. And we know where AKE is now, averaging 300 viewers on Twitch. Because I see the same exact sort of fall off, the same exact sort of trajectory, the same exact strategies to acquire this interest, mass sponsoring everybody so you're at 120k CCV on day one. Because I saw one game doing all the same things that NTE did and fall off like crazy. And now I'm seeing NTE fall off faster than AKE. How illegitimate is it for me to think that NTE isn't really on a good path? It's not very illegitimate. It's actually very legitimate for me to make that prediction. And there's always the possibility that I could be wrong. But what I saw in this live stream didn't do anything at all to quell any of the concerns that I might have. And so, yes, this is going to be us addressing this situation over here. Because it's funny, right? To see all of these new channel viewers, right? All of these people that will LARP, literally cosplay as members of my community. Guys, alternate title, NTE didn't sponsor me, so now I hate them till the end of time. Enough, Unk, let it go. He's talking to me like he's familiar with my channel. On this channel, one comment. On this channel, one comment. But hey, we're gonna talk like we're a longtime viewer. Guys. It's time to face the music. It's time to recognize criticism doesn't equate to hate. And the more you critique a game, the more you're giving opportunities to develop. The more you're giving developers the opportunities to actually fix it. And if you're at the point where you're going to try to like gang up on anybody providing critique, and then eventually end up with a toxic positive community that just doesn't even care about the game anymore, then this is what you're going to have. It's very, very, very simple. You're going to end up as the next Enfield. Because what is Enfield? It's a game that nobody critiques because nobody plays it and nobody cares. Nobody cares. And it's done. Because they saw that nobody was getting listened to. Nothing was getting changed. The things that people wanted updated didn't get updated. And the end result is that nobody critiques the game anymore and it's dead. And with no updates to like the core gameplay loop, no updates to kind of like the combat, no updates to like weaving in more of like, I don't know, what I'm pulling on the gacha for into like the main gameplay loop. Like, I'm personally somebody, right? And I think a lot of players are falling into this bucket when you see the fall off of this game. I'm personally not somebody where I want over half the live stream dedicated to only just the city activities and the mini games, and pretty much the only combat being shown in this live stream, right? Why you're pulling the characters to build your roster to go do the combat. The only combat that you see in here is in the character showcases. There is no combat or like core gameplay shown anywhere else in this thing. And to call the prison brawl combat is like insane because this isn't even a character that you can use in the game. This is a specific brawling moveset that's only available in the minigame. And like I said before, this doesn't engage with the gacha at all. Because you're not using your gacha characters, right? They don't have like special fighting minigame movesets. You're not using your gacha characters here. And that's what I mean. When the revenue, what you're grinding for, what you're pulling for, why you're spending your energy every day to go grind things, right? Why you're doing like why you're getting like the console pieces. It doesn't connect to any of the shit that they're focusing on in their live streams or their trailers or really even their versions. And that's kind of just what I'm concerned about. Why am I pulling these characters? Why am I logging in every day? Why am I spending all of my city or all of my stamina? Why am I grinding these things when I don't use my characters in any of the content that these devs are making? And the majority of my playtime is actually spent on these minigames. But if I wanted to spend the majority of my playtime on minigames, I'd rather go play a game that was like designed from the ground up to be a minigame and not a game that's supposed to be a gacha and a minigame simulator at the same time, because it's not going to do either of them well. And that's just my take. But hey, feel free to hate on it if you want. Feel free to leave another dipshit level 0 IQ brain doo-doo water comment. You'll just be farmed in the next video that we make in this series. Because you already know another one is coming up. Because when it comes to gacha games, when it comes to stuff like this, I have a lot of confidence in my predictions. And when this is what the game is looking like, less than a month into release, on all the metrics, what else is anyone supposed to think when it comes to predicting the future path of this game? It doesn't look good. And it's time to stop shitting on people or saying that they're lying or saying that they're being illegitimate when they're just pointing out to you the fucking data and the fucking facts. Because these numbers, despite what you might think, these numbers aren't actually lying, brother man. That'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.